Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next, and the end is in sight for this semester. I'm so close, yet so far. And I already talked about this a little bit on Tuesday, but I've acquired a lot of yarn, and I want to crochet. I'm not showing you the yarn today, maybe next week, because I think I'm letting it cook. I'm letting this pattern that I'm making cook. But I want to do that. And I need to do gardening work. Well, I want to do gardening work. And I don't know. I also just I'm so exhausted that I want to stare off into space. So we'll see what happens. I do have some tangible reading plans, and I'm largely enjoying everything I'm reading. And I'm really excited about the TBR that I have lined up for myself that you saw Tuesday. So let's start. The thing I am furthest in this month so far, over the halfway point, Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. I think I talked a little bit about some of my issues with the character work and dialogue I find in these books. So the too long didn't watch about that is I just find the dialogue very stilted, young, the internal logs kind of repetitive. There's a lot of repetition I have been finding in more modern Sanderson works. And what I mean by modern is just it's been out in the last 5 years or so. I feel like he doesn't trust his readers as much as he used to for some things. And I'm not necessarily talking about theme work, but it's don't worry, I already remember that you said that a page ago. I know. And I've noticed that not just in his young adult work, which you could maybe be well, in young adult work, but again, I just think I'm finding that in his more modern stuff, and maybe it's because it's supposed to be more accessible, maybe because it's harder to catch in the edits because it can be kind of smooth. It's just that, I noticed that I've already heard this. Why are we talking about this again? And maybe sometimes, since this is a first-person book, brains are repetitive. But it's when you're writing art, you don't have to be so true to life. You can make it an interesting snippet of life. But surprising me, and maybe it shouldn't surprise me, but for those who need a time machine, back to when this book came out, what was it, 2022, 2021? I don't even remember. 2021. And there were read-alongs happening. I remember Jessie May and Elliot Brooks were reading this. I don't remember if other people were involved in it or was it just the two of them. But I know both of them did not really get on with this. And I know a lot of people didn't really get on with this third book. I had thought it was because it was going to do something that I really didn't like at the end of Reckoners. It doesn't help that Calamity is a similar color palette to this. So I was associating the end of Reckoners. So for those who have not read Reckoners, that is his superhero series. But it's anti-hero. It was before The Boys and everything. So Sanderson was doing it before it was made a big deal on every other TV show, like Incredibles or The Boys or whatever. So being subversive about superheroes, it was even coming out before Marvel was super, super Marvel. But the third book's answer to why was so trite and stupid and after school special, and I was so annoyed, and it wasn't even as sci-fi as I thought it should be since it was a sci-fi series. So I assumed maybe some of that was bleeding into this sci-fi series. Now granted, I don't know the answers to the questions yet. So I could still have an issue with what the answers are going to be. But so far, what to talk about. Spensa is a standard young adult character in that they are ostracized and they are special in some way. They borderline not like other girls, but she's more not like other people in the first book. And she does grow quite a bit. Spensa, this book is way more palatable for me than Spensa in Skyward. And in this book, she is going on a quest, a standard questy quest. We are going on a standard, we need to go to this place next. Now we need to go to this place next. Now we need to go to this place. And every time there's something in the way, an obstacle to overcome. In that way, the momentum is fairly straightforward. I'm just not big on quests, and what we're exploring is kind of cool, but it's more aesthetically cool than it is intellectually cool for me. I usually find a lot of world building. I don't think the sci-fi premise here is that groundbreaking, but it's also not bad. So we'll see. And we'll see if it intrigues me enough that I'll spend another Audible credit to get Defiant, so I can finally finish this. I do not think it's intriguing me enough to read all of the other novellas and then read whatever the other author will write in this world, the Defiance world. I don't even know. This is the Skyward series, but I know that there's going to be like other books. So yeah. Also, I did not know she had purple eyes. Who knew? So, I'm generally liking it though, more than I thought, which I really shouldn't be surprised at, just because, like, I didn't dislike Skyward or Starsight. I actually really like Skyward. Skyward is so, like, Top Gun, and it's really fun, and, like, my biggest issue is that it's first person. I would probably adore this series if it was third, because I like Sanderson's third person better, and Spence's just a lot. So, like, if it was multi-POV, I think I would have really gotten on with it. So yeah, that's all I can really talk about. So, like, there's a lot going on in the third book that's not even remotely introduced in the first book. So, also though, I'm gonna adjust the camera a little bit. I feel like and I can't move over to the left more because there's this thing here. So real-time Angela's moving stuff. I started a new Fonda Lee book, The Last Contract of Asako, and I've already ordered my copy, and I have no idea actually, because I didn't realize that it's being released in hardcover and paperback, and when I ordered it from my bookstore, it's just like casual. I just like email the owner of the bookstore, and I'm like, can you purchase this book for me? I would like to buy it. So I don't know which one he'll have bought for me, but I already ordered it, so I'm excited. Like, I'll buy whichever one, but part of me is like, I hope it's the hardcover. It probably won't be, like, because he hates hardcover books for shelving in the store, so it's probably the paperback. But Orbit finally releases a hardcover, and I don't even think about it, and they're releasing both at the same time. Silly. But this is the new Fonda Lee book, and I am 20% of the way in and really liking it. I just haven't had physical reading time, but I'm really enjoying it when I do have physical reading time. Fonda Lee's prose and my brain, I flow. It's easy, it's effortless, it paints a picture, it makes me intrigued. I like how the brains think of the characters that I'm with, because it's like third person close-ish. So this is a fun sci-fi story so far, where we are on a planet that is resource constrained, and I'm not going to talk a lot about how they handle population control with that, but they do it in a fascinating way. And then there's obviously different factions and different opinions about where resources should be spent, and that has a political side to it, and our character it's a little bit Jedi, a little bit not Jedi. Like, people can purchase the expertise of these individuals that have been trained by an agency, and they have a lot of intellectual skills, and they have a lot of physical prowess skills, and they are in charge of helping the client get what they want, and a lot of these clients are in political spaces. And Asako is 50, and she is one of the best in her fields. She has a lot of apprentices. Like, there's no the Force, okay? So it's not like the Jedi with, like, the Force. But in terms of, like, an organization that trains these people who are meant to be, like, extreme advisors specialized for certain tasks, and for reasons, she has this last job to complete in 30 days before she retires, and what retirement entails based off this world, because it's not your standard retirement. Again, I kind of really enjoy learning about worlds when I read, so I'm going to currently be a little vague about it, unless in future reviews I need to talk about it. But I am super interested. And, like, it's really like a testament to Fonda Lee. Like, a lot of this is not my stuff. I don't like last jobs. I don't like a last job thing. Now, I think why this is working is because typically a last job is like they've been out of the game for a while and they're getting sucked back in for some trite reason. In this case, she's been in the game, and it's a very interesting scenario that is leading to this last contract, this scenario. And it's very clear that there is mystery and intrigue afoot. And again, this doesn't usually work for me. Like, this is feeling like an action plot. And in, like, an action movie, very Bourne Identity, James Bond, and I'm, like, so in it. Like, I'm having such a good time. And I'm liking the world, and I'm liking learning about the politics, and is there a conspiracy theory? So I'm having a lot of fun. For me, it's everything I like about what Fonda Lee does so far, but it's not like the Greenbone saga. Like, for me, I think now I can answer the question, what do I like about Fonda Lee? It is how she tells a story. It doesn't matter the story, it is how she tells the story. But if what you liked about Greenbone saga was specifically about family dynamics and those people, I mean, we're only following one character here, And it's specifically really not about family dynamics. That's another thing. How community works with this like resource-strained planet. Really cool. So it's really cool, lived in place for me. At least it's been fun for me to bumble about. So those are my 2 currently reads. I need to pick up before next Wednesday, and I've read it before, and it's really not too long. I need to pick up Arboreality for a book club, so that's on my list. And I've actually never read from this copy. I can't remember if I bought this copy. I can't remember if Evie bought me this copy. Evie, if you bought it for me, thank you. But I'm excited to actually read it. And actually, it should really go by really fast, because like these pages, they're tall, but they don't have a lot of words, and it's like 90 pages. It's such a good book, though. I guess if you somehow haven't heard me talk about this, this is like 100 years in the course of like 100 pages-ish between a bunch of wildfires that basically decimate. It's the Vancouver region of Canada and other parts of North America. And it's about how humanity has to basically go into a temporary dark age and then come back out of it, and what that does to communities, what that does to tech, what that does to literature. And it's just really beautiful, and it's focused on the reality, but also focused on the humanity and the living of it. And that's something I find really cathartic in these days and age where everything just perpetually keeps being worse. Somehow. It keeps being worse. And it encourages me to remember that while you do actionable steps, you also have to remember to live, because that is, at the end of the day, the point, is to live and however that feels to you, and however you can figure out how to balance the chaos with your living. So yeah, I really liked it, and this cover is stunning. So yeah, that's what I'm currently working on. I have no idea what I'll pick up next after that. I'm too early days to think about that. In terms of TV, I finished The Pit. I did it. Yeah. I don't know why I got in my head that The Pit season 2 is going to be like 20-some episodes, but it's only 15. So it's the same length as the first season, which is fine. Totally reasonable. I'm excited for whenever we get the 3rd season. I don't know. Are they doing it like a season a year? Is that what we've currently been doing? I'd be down. Be very down for that. I finally finished season 1 of One Piece because I was grading yesterday, and I was in a grading tunnel, and I was like, I need to finish season 1 of One Piece. So I threw it on. And so now there's season 2 live action that I haven't gotten to yet. Ryan and I are still working our way through Pluribus. I think we have 1 or 2 episodes left. It's sort of growing on me. I sort of just have a lot of, I don't know, issues with the pacing. My first issue is still the pacing. It is a poorly paced show for my tastes. I think sometimes it's long because it's allowed to be long, not because it should be long. I have very strong opinions about how TV should be paced. Like, for example, it's not that Pluribus is longer than The Pit. Those episodes are about the same length. But the Pit episodes have a really good momentum. They have a really good rise and fall of tension and quiet time, and it just works. Whereas this is a little uneven in ways that I don't find completely fulfilling. Which is interesting because, I know, it's funny. Both of these shows are created by people who know how to make TV. That's not a question. Pluribus is from the Breaking Bad people. Or is that what they were called? Is yeah, I'm pretty sure. The chemistry, I never watched it. But I know it was very bingeable. I know it was popular. And Better Call Saul, very popular. I love West Wing, which I know is the Pit people. And they also did ER. Never saw ER. But that is to say, I know both of these groups know how to make TV. But Pluribus is kind of leaning on the artsy side of pacing, which is not my preference for TV consumption. Movies, I allow a little bit more indulgence for a movie. But for a TV show, there's a certain amount of engagement I want to feel when I'm watching it. And I find Netflix shows are the biggest issues with this. My last media thing I'll talk about is I finally got to see The Tour for Outsiders, which is a great musical. I actually haven't read the book in a very long time. I read the book for my 9th grade English class when I was in 9th grade. Was it 9th grade? No, it was 7th grade. Even longer. And I had a really used, beat-up copy, and I didn't like it, partially because it was the second book I had read, because I read the incorrect book first, and both of them were stupid sad. And I was in 7th grade, and I didn't really feel like being stupid sad. I just didn't. Yeah, I don't know. As an adult, though, the musical, what I think is really fun is how it's staged. Oh, the staging is stunning. How they use lights, how they use choreography, how they use the set. I don't know if it won a Tony for that, but it would win a Tony from my heart for that. Like, I know it won Best Tony, like the best musical, which we're not going to get into the Tony snubs, because I can't. I can't handle it. If you've been here, you know my opinions about chess, and so you know. I don't even care about the best actor or actress. I care about best revival. I didn't even think it was going to win. It just should have been there. They had a slot. It is the most improved girl on the street, because we all know the first time it went on theaters, it was bad. Chess was bad on Broadway. Now it's good. Or, like, you get to enjoy the songs and not notice how bad it is. Anyways, back to Outsiders. I just loved all the ballads in person. They just resonate so strongly. The acting's really good. I teared up a few times, which I always want to have happen. So I can't speak to how close it is to the book. My sibling, who loves all things Outsiders, seems to think it's good. So, like, cool. Adaptations are allowed to do what adaptations do. I think this is pretty quality, and it was great. For the most part, nobody had their phones on in the theater. But, like, also, I truly hate that people don't realize how freaking bright their phones are when they're in a dark place. Like, get yourself together. If you can't be off your phone for 2 hours, there's an issue. And I say that as a chronic phone user millennial. Chronic. I use my phone so much, I don't even have notifications on my phone because I'm looking at it long enough that I don't need to see hear the thing because I'm just looking at it. Okay? Trust me. Pot calling kettle black, you can be without your phone for 2 freaking hours. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And we'll see what this weekend has in store because, like I said, I'm almost done grading. I'm almost done prepping for summer classes, and then I can relax for just like a little bit. But I have some things I want to frame. I have some yard work I want to get done, and I have some crocheting that I want to do. And maybe next week I'll show you guys a little bit of what I'm working on with my crochet. But I can't quite because someone I'm making the crochet for sometimes watches my videos. And so maybe I want to keep that a secret. Haven't decided, but just know I'm having a good time and I'm really excited because I'm like making my first patterns, which I just have never done before. And it's just a blanket. So it's like, it's just a big rectangle. But for my brain, forcing myself to like do this is like a pretty big deal. And I really like what I have coming together so far. I've been playing around making swatches and I think I've almost got the vision. So I'm excited. What are you reading, doing, or watching? If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, leave. I mean, both the books I'm reading are very sci-fi oriented. So leave a sci-fi emoji of your choice. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.